Welcome back to The Edge. We're talking granular user intent and SEO, Google rankings, subtopics. And whoa, did someone at Google Ads just link organic ranking to ad spend? You're listening to News of The Edge, week of January 11th, 2021, here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
See, I want to go into, whoa, yeah, you got to listen because, my gosh, it's not shock jock, right? This is Edge of the Web Radio. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks from Site Strategics. Every week we bring you amazing guests to chat with and trending digital marketing topics to kind of unpack and decompress. Each week we cover SEO and digital marketing news separate from our weekly interview. So you want to check out what we're doing each and every week after this news that we drop every Tuesday because we're talking some great stuff with some amazing talent from around the world. Be sure to check out all the recent shows over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. So welcome to the Site Strategic Digital Marketing News Desk of Edge of the Web. Joining me this week to get his take on all things digitally sound, digitally news, digitally SEO news. How do I want to do that? I just want to do SEO news.
Are you trying to
SEO
craft
stuff?
I'm trying to craft
the perfect SEO phrase about SEO news?
Exactly. I really do need to do some keyword research on exactly how I want to roll that out, don't I? Morty Oberstein, SEO liaison over at Wix. How you doing, sir?
I just heard that joke. Not great.
No, it's not. It's like a
No,
bad.
it's not.
It's like a bad dad joke combined with a bad SEO joke.
It depends. There's another SEO joke.
Exactly. It depends.
Is it
It
time to start
depends.
SEO Dads has a hashtag?
I think I actually registered that domain a long time ago. I kid you not. Got to look it up while we're off screen. All right, Marty, what's happening in your neck of the woods?
Let's see. My kids are all home for lockdown.
Yep.
My football team lost.
Oh.
So basically everything in the world is falling apart. The only thing that didn't happen is my dog didn't die. You know why?
What's that?
I don't have a dog.
Oh my gosh! So you probably shouldn't buy one.
No.
Oh.
No.
So you
No.
have some sort of
It's great.
vortex that's happening over there, huh?
I don't know what's going on. I think the world's karma is finally catching up to me for all this time.
Well, we're
I've
kind of glad you're
outlasted
just
it.
sitting in that seat right there. Now you're a little ways away from us. Tell our audience where you are right now.
I am a few minutes outside of Jerusalem in Israel.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
And we're over here in Indianapolis Indianapolis, Indiana, in the States. And technology is a wonderful thing, right?
It's an amazing thing. It's how I still communicate with my family. Unfortunately,
You actually are on the mic whenever you talk to the kids.
well, no, I don't mean my family, like my kids. Like I mean, like my sister in New York or my father.
I tell you what, if you get on the technology, I mean, we use Amazon speakers all over the bloody place to get the kids down to, and get the kids down to dinner and, hey, ping them whenever they're not turning in their device or they need to get off the gaming. But I just included my mom on our network because she's living alone and I got her on an Echo show so we can connect, right? I don't realize that whenever I'm doing a mass distribution of yelling through the Amazon ecosystem, she's part of the family now. She's called me up going, I didn't do it. I swear I'm not on the device. in a British accent, which is even better.
Oh, that's great. I would love to meet your mom.
You
should have her on the show. You should bring her on the show.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if she can handle that. Well, I mean, she's also a bit gun shy about coming out into public right now. We could probably connect
on Zoom.
We could get her on the Zoom.
Yeah.
We could get her on Zoom via the Echo
She
show.
could bring her Amazon Echo with her.
Oh my gosh.
If Morty doesn't do well this week, he can be replaced next week on the news by your
It's
mom.
that bad. You're gonna bring in your British mother.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. And she doesn't even open up a computer. So that's the level we're at.
I mean,
I mean,
it's
she's not even using Bing.
it's a take of SEO news that no one else has.
Probably so.
Right.
She'll have some war flashbacks or something like that. Okay.
Sounds like an acid trip, to be honest with you.
Oh, trust me, that was my life. I mean, we're just gonna move on from there.
Wow.
All right, the first.
Are we doing the news?
We're doing the news. The first article is from Search Engine Land by Roger Monti. Hey, we just wanted to touch base with SES. That's actually Search Engine Journal. Sorry. Google Ads salesperson alleged to link organic rankings to ad spend by Roger Monti, a member of search marketing community, tweeted allegations of misrepresentations of a Google Ads salesperson, and Danny Sullivan responded with some help. Now, the long and short of this is that the SEO community is fully bought in that ads have no effect on SEO, and that has been the policy line forever. And was this kind of like shakedown of a Google Ads customer? There's certainly a string of tweets out there. I'm sure not. The original tweet was, "I'm sure not sure yet how to process the fact that Google just did a shakedown of one of my clients. In essence, they were told to spend more on paid ads in order to improve organic search for their brand name, quote unquote." She then followed up with, for a long time, those of us active in SEO knew that Google would do this, but Google always denied it. It really hit differently to see them say it out loud. Marty, what say you about this particular connection?
Wow. Well, there's two options here, right? Yep. One option is that this is true. There's some sort of connection between what you spend and how you rank, which I don't think is the case. Mm-mm. The other option is that you have a salesperson saying, "Hey, I'll do whatever I can to make a buck here. And I'll tell you that if you spend more money, you'll do better across the board." That I believe.
Right.
That I believe very much. Because, hey, Google, Bing, whatever, salespeople, they're going to sell. That's what they do.
That's absolutely correct. And it may have been misinterpreted, misunderstood by the client, because we understand that clients maybe hear things differently. But this is not a red pill, blue pill type of scenario, right?
I mean, it doesn't make any sense that they're like connecting the algorithm to your ad spend. I think this seems like even for Google, or your conspiracy Google people out there.
Sure.
Even like that seems to be a lot. Occam's razor, all things being equal, just a salesperson getting a little too zealous, which is, again, it's not a good thing.
It is not. Furthermore, it went beyond a phone call. This wasn't something that was actually alleged to have only been communicated with a phone call. The person recounting the alleged incident said that the Google salesperson had put it in writing in an email. She tweeted, "Fortunately, our client forwarded the email with a 'Holy cow, I can't believe they're putting it in writing. What do you think?'" She also said that we have sophisticated and smart clients. So Danny Sullivan, Google's liaison, intervenes. Nobody was actually more concerned than Danny. He stepped into the discussion and talked about, he immediately interceded. Ad spend will not increase your SEO at all, period. And if you want to DM me the info, I'll follow up with Google Ads team to track down why this got said, because it should have never been said, because it absolutely doesn't work that way. So a number of proponents to Danny's support came in there as well. He confirmed that there was already action taken regarding this. He actually went on to say, "It will be addressed. I've already sent some emails about it now. I'm guessing that maybe the rep was referencing some studies. I recall that sometimes users might click on more ads or unpaid search results when both are present, which is not a way to boost SEO." Continued thoughts, Morty?
I mean, look, okay, I get the whole liaison. As one liaison to another liaison, I very much get what Danny's trying to do, and I believe him. I think he saw this. I think he's like, "Oh crap, that's not a good thing at all." The only thing I would say is look, if somebody made a mistake, if you have an ad rep who made a mistake and said, try to get a little bit more in the pocket than they should have, through a little bit more of aggressive means than probably is truthful, then own up to that. I don't think this is some sort of mistake where they thought that this and that, blah, blah, blah. No, that's probably not what happened. It's probably, again, there's a salesperson trying to make more money.
I completely agree.
So just say that. That happens. That happens at all companies. This is where I don't get Google sometimes. Could you identify with a sales rep who went too far trying to sell to try to get too much money for themselves? Mm-hmm. I do. I could identify with that. I get where that would come from.
Always, yeah. I mean,
I would forgive them if that happened.
Just own it. And that's also some of the gun-shy moments that Google just doesn't stick themselves out there and even posit up that particular thought, which absolutely would be a legitimate additional argument into the mix.
Yep.
So all things, I mean, that got a little bit of traction out there because of the, there's been miles and miles of road covered with that type of insinuation that ads affect SEO rankings in one way, shape, or form. So Danny was obviously on the stick and got in there. There was somebody else that was also on the stick. That was Rand Fishkin over at Spark Toro.
So yeah.
And his response, I'm just going to have to share it with you, everybody. He said, "Okay, if you're not busy after, would love to hear your thoughts on justification for removal of 27% of keywords, the firing of Timnit Gebru, hiring of the IRI union busters, your team up with Facebook to fight antitrust investigations, and Google Ads funding white supremacist sites." Okay.
That's a mouthful.
My God. So those are some of the issues that are facing Google, right? And we just talked about Timnit on the show a couple weeks back of what happened to her and the arguments that she was making against the natural language processing being biased. So anyway, if you wanted to jump back into that episode, there's that. But man, that was almost like a firing squad against Danny, and he can't answer all those particular points, right?
No, and that's okay. Look, that's almost not fair. Whether or not the points are good points or not good points, like we could take each one and go through that. I mean, we did for the it was last week's show, no? Yeah, with George.
Yeah.
But like, what do you expect Danny to say to that? Like, what's the guy supposed to say to that? Like, maybe it's like I have like identification with the whole liaison thing. I get it, but like, I don't think that does anybody any good. Like, what's going to happen out of there? I know, what's going to happen out of there. Can I call a spade on this show?
Go for it.
Ooh, what's going to happen is that's Rand Fishkin trying to get a little more SEO talk on his Twitter profile because he doesn't really do SEO anymore.
Oh, all right. Well,
hot take by Morty. That's what I'm here for.
All righty then. Well, I don't know if I can agree with you there. Probably do, but I'm not going to support you because
no, okay. I'm not necessarily the views of
I will fight you on this. I will fight you. No, I'm not. Look, I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I'm saying like, look, hey, marketer's going to market, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay? We know what we're doing.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
We know what we're doing.
Yeah. But man,
I don't think if the goal was a constructive conversation, was that going to be it?
No, absolutely not. And there is a laundry list of things that Google's actually dealing with right now that are pretty substantial. And the antitrust piece, I tell you what, that's huge. What they're about to go through in the next year or so, year or 2 years, 3 years, what have you. But yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Okay. But I'm not saying disagree with Rand. By the way, there's some good points about the union thing. We talked about that. I'm not saying I disagree with Rand. I just think that how do I put this back into a PC mode? I'm going to put my liaison hat back on. I think that could have been handled in a more productive way. While I do understand the temptation to vent frustration in such a manner, as I too have often felt frustrated at Google.
Right.
I think ultimately manners and modesty and humility must reign supreme. How was that?
How's that feel in your mouth? I mean, is it like
dirty? Really bad.
I think we do probably need to have some sort of Oberstein disclaimer crap
at every show.
All right, jumping over to another article over at Search Engine Roundtable with Barry Schwartz. Google launched. Actually, this is Search Engine Land. I'm sorry, I got all my stuff mixed up.
There's too many. All these problem is they all have the word search in there.
Yeah, they really do. They really
or
do.
SEO or some other keyword.
Yeah, they're all over the place. Google launched Subtopic ranking in mid-November. Danny Sullivan of Google confirmed over the weekend that one new ranking change went live in mid-November, and that was from the slew of announcements at Google's Search On event last October. Google launched the Subtopics ranking feature in mid-November. So, what are subtopics, Morty?
Ooh, okay. So this is cool. I mean, I actually jumped in. I tried to find a bunch of keywords related to this. So basically, Google's saying like, okay, I think the example they gave was exercise equipment. So they'll show, and it's a little bit unclear exactly how this is going to work, but they'll show a result for cheap exercise equipment, and they'll show a result for indoor exercise equipment or space-saving exercise equipment. So they could sort of like take the idea of exercise equipment,
Right.
break it down or parse it according to subcategories of all different aspects of the idea of exercise equipment and show that on the SERP.
But you actually were in that fracas and trying to find demonstrations of subtopic ranking
Yeah.
that you couldn't see right
I
away.
couldn't find anything. So they're supposed to apply to broad category, broad keywords. I actually looked at a bunch of broad retail keywords, some of them even around exercise equipment. You would think you would see something jump up out of nowhere around November time, because again, like they're all of a sudden something subtopical becomes relevant,
Right.
But I didn't see anything like that. I don't know. I mean, look, I only looked at 100 or so keywords. That's not exactly a ton.
But you were going broad, and you weren't. It's a visual categorization that we're expecting to see, not just a series of different permutations or autofills. We're actually looking to see
like ranking.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it looks like actual ranking. Like this, a page that didn't rank before should now rank because it aligns to a certain subtopic of the overall entity or overall topic being discussed.
Is anybody conversing with you online, sharing with you some?
I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything. It's really interesting. Look, it could be it's like very weird, like one-off, 5% of all queries kind of thing, 1% of all queries. They didn't really say.
Well,
it could be, by the way, that it could be that it happened in the part of the core update. They sort of like threw it in there. They said November, but it didn't really. No idea. It is interesting. I don't understand how it's gonna how is it supposed to work? Right. This is my point. Like, let's say, so now you take exercise equipment, you break it down to 1 million subtopics.
Right.
So now you have like one result for each subtopic. But if none of those results or only one of those results really speak to me, so like the rest of the SERP is out totally irrelevant. Like I don't understand how that's supposed to work.
I got a feeling that the just like the 7 local pack trimmed down to 3 local pack years ago, they're going to be doing the natural or the highest competitive broad searches are going to have a smaller set of rankings. Then you're going to have these bracketed subsets. So our entire organic tenfold breakout is now going to be turning into 3 above the 3 on the first page for the most competitive broad searches. Would you agree?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, they're peppering it in somehow, or what they could do is they can create a multi-layered SERP, kind of what you see for like the COVID-19, which they do experiment with. You have the left side menu, right?
Yep.
And you can just break it up that way. You can have best exercise equipment, cheap exercise equipment, space-saving exercise equipment, and you just get a whole different set of results on each tab.
No, hopefully that would be the case because if they started cutting up
that would be interesting.
It'd be pretty cool. And again, it'd be again them doing it's very similar to the autofill of all. Here's what others also search for, but it's more utilitarian, giving you one more step to understand all the different permutations, subtopics right there at the Google sandbox, as opposed to changing your own trajectory and refining your search query, right? So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Like it's really helpful. Like if I want to say I search for buy car insurance and you have separate tabs or whatever you want to call them for comparing car insurance policy versus actually buying car insurance. That would make tracking your rank really hard though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All of this turns rank tracking on its head a little bit.
Well, it also pivots people if people are actually interacting with SERPs and then educating themselves on the additional qualifying term that they need to really find what they're looking for. If all of a sudden all of that's right there guiding the user with what the logical next step is, then you're going to miss a lot of the click-through traffic on your content, right? On those top broad terms. Because
so those broad terms.
It's much more of a steerage console, really kind of moving people away from the interactivity of the top 10 that they usually would experience. That's
the whole
big.
Ecosystem.
Yep, really is.
That's the whole ecosystem. Like that broad content, ultimate guide covering every topic.
Yep.
It doesn't. I don't see it working the same way anymore.
Well, it also puts into play how they're choosing the subtopics, right? What's the data that's actually backing that up? And we got into a lot of discussions regarding natural language processing and different language biases last week. But the point is, if those are the subtopics that Google's choosing for the main thoroughfare of the audience, well, there's a heck of a lot of steerage that's going to be happening by Google as opposed to aiming your content and building your content right for those natural permutations.
Yep.
Who's going to be ranking, and is there going to be ad space in those pieces of real estate
There'll
as
be
well?
ad space. There'll be plenty
But it will not affect SEO whatsoever.
Unless, really? Because I had a Google rep tell me that.
All right. I tell you what will affect your SEO is using Ahrefs. Ahrefs is a fantastic program that we use here at Site Strategics, and it's one of the top SEO tools to be able to measure your competitors' ranking, what kind of links are actually getting them, their top keywords, what kind of content they've got on their website, and use that as a great strategic tool to be able to put together your digital plan to knock them off the blocks. So if you're interested in what Ahrefs looks like for your organization, go over to ahrefs.com. That's ahrefs.com. You can check out all the really cool tools they have there. They've got a 7 days for $7 promotion that you can actually see the entire full-fledged application, their SEO audit tool, their link tools, their link intersect tools. You can put together a great analysis of your competition, as well as understand where you may have some weak points in your own SEO space. It gives you a really, really fast ramp up to be able to execute some great top-notch next steps for your organization. So check out everybody over at ahrefs.com and tell them that we sent you, if they allow you to. We got to send them over to a landing page here over the course of the next few months. All right, for our third article, we're talking about a fantastic article by Mark Trefhagen over at Search Engine Journal. He led with Beyond Traditional User Intent, Why and How to Go Granular. So we want to unpack this with Morty here today. SEO may benefit from looking beyond the traditional user intent. Micro intentions are the kind of the coin of the realm that we could possibly be seeing, and how that could actually help you increase traffic. Now, this is actually a good tie-in to the subtopic discussion that we were talking about, because conventionally, traditional user intent has fallen into four categories. That's informational. People are seeking knowledge about a particular topic. Navigational. They're actually trying to get someplace, right, to a specific site or a specific page. But more importantly, it's usually tied to trying to find something, some physical location. A transactional side of things, where users want to buy something, although the transaction does not have to be monetary, right? They can also get information based on a particular query. And then local, right? Local is they're truly trying to find a geographic resource close to their current location. So there's navigational kind of falls into both sides of the equation there. So there's four basic user intent models. Well, everything has actually changed, and so the article is actually positioning us to kind of move from the broad intents to micro intentions. So what is a micro intention, Morty?
Why would I know that?
I don't know. I'm just asking you.
Oh, no. But what he means is, so you have, let's say informational, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but there doesn't really tell you anything. I mean, it tells you they want information, but there's a million variations of that, a million subsets of that, or subcategories of that, like we were talking about before.
There we go.
Right. So I might want to compare. That's one kind of informational intent. I might want to, I don't know, just general education kind of. I just want to inform myself about whatever's going on. There's a million different ways you could think about, like why I want to know, or subvariants of what I want to know, how I want to know it. And that is where you can really understand, okay, what the intent really is. Just knowing, the user wants to be informed doesn't really tell you much.
Nope, it doesn't.
How exactly they want to be informed, and what way, how they want to use that information, that actually tells you what they're really looking for. So that's basically the idea in a nutshell. Mark, I hope I'm doing it justice.
Well, I think it also ties into that buyer's journey mindset, right? Stages of, so they may very well be an informational, but they also have the awareness of a problem, consideration of solutions, consideration of different differentiators between solution providers, and then how you're going to treat me as a future customer. Well, he brings up this concept of the zero moment of truth, ZMOT. And it consists of all interactions a consumer might have on numerous devices. Don't forget that side of the equation. Over time, that influence their final purchasing decision. So there's a model there that is very, very much tied into not only sub-content, but also buyer's intent, and there's a cumulative effect, kind of a tipping point, that zero point where someone's actually going to perform a transaction, and it doesn't have to be an online transaction. We're talking about some information retrieval, right?
Yep.
And that's the ultimate goal for any SEO, is to move them to a point that they're not just consuming one piece of information. You may very well have some great buyer's journey content out there, but if they just go into their siloed mode, they don't transit the site or transit your funnel, then you don't have the ability to affect that ZMOT, right?
Yeah, well, you know what's funny about that, or what's not so funny about that, what's interesting about that is that there is no funnel. Google has an article about it a few years ago, like the funnel is messy. They're like, all right, top of the funnel, mid funnel, bottom. They can come back in, they can come back out again, back into the funnel, back over here in the funnel, back over there in the funnel. You kind of get my point, but the funnel.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to have content for all of that.
Yeah, it's not a funnel. It's more of touchdown landing pads, and it's a big old spaghetti mess because they're coming around. They're being affected by ads over here with a particular connection to, again, awareness, consideration, decision. So they're getting hit by all of these different spaces. Mark actually referenced you in a tweet talking about micro decisions, micro intentions, right. I should say. So I'm not even going to give you justice on the tweet, but you started you started contributing into what does micro intentions kind of look like from maybe the informational piece of intent, right? So here's some other possible micro intentions around the informational category. That's factual. Users want to learn something about a specific fact, right? So you got informational, and then a breakout, a subset, a subtopic of facts. Instructional, they want to know how to do something. Expansional, user wants related topics or areas of expansion on the base topic. Aggregational, user wants to see a variety of thoughts or opinions about a topic. So there are four. I mean, and there's literally, it could be easy to run through.
There could be a million of these.
It really could. It really could. So now we're starting to understand that Google's understanding passages, they're looking at subtopics. I mean, isn't this a direct matchup to what SEO is going to be in the future? It's not just about, and harken back to Inlinks and Dixon Jones, it's the semantic relationship of content. Right?
Yes.
And if you actually capitalize on your SEO skills, you're not just putting one term out there, you're not putting one page out there. Relationships of those objects or entities are what we're going to be looking like here in the future. Yeah?
You're making me like, I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss of words.
He's overclamped.
I'm overclamped. I'm overclamped. Okay. No, I literally just wrote about this.
Awesome.
Okay. Topics are entities because a topic is a concept and a concept is an entity.
Yep.
Okay. So just like Google understands that the Yankees are an entity or the Steelers are a really sucky entity who loses to a totally underwhelming team, it also understands that a topic is an entity.
Yep.
And that topics like exercising have all sorts of variants or subtopics that go along with it, and depending upon your search history or whatever it is, or the way the nature of the query, Google could better understand what subtopics are relevant or not relevant to what you're searching for.
Absolutely. And if you have the tech behind it, you can literally pull information and be able to see the query data via API, what have you, be able to see the strength of one particular topic as opposed to others. Again, Inlinks has a fantastic tool over there that actually scans your content and shows you kind of the popularity of certain topics. Very similar to like Answer the Public or something like that. That breaks down into who, what, when, where, and when, and the strength of dimensions of the different phrases there. So you can truly start seeing how SEO is going to evolve whenever you start seeing software scanning your topic structure, right? And whether or not you're deepening the well of information, or you're very at the thermal layer, you're at the surface layer. I mean, that's how we're going to start seeing. It's not about keyword density. It's not about how many times. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what keyword research should really be like, right? What topics are related? What topics are not related? What topics are subsumed to the topic? Like, if you want to be able to address the entire funnel and that mess that is the funnel, then you need to know what topics you need to cover it all across the board.
Absolutely.
That to me is the real keyword research.
So this article is really important, guys, because this is the next evolution of SEO. And every SEO literally needs to be such a subject matter expert of the work that they're doing for their clients, even more so than their clients actually may even know. Because these topics are out there, you just can't trust your clients to be able to bring all the information and what's priority, what's important, because they could actually be focused on what they do really well. But over here is an entire gallery of topical information that you need to be able to bring to your clients' awareness, but more importantly, be able to demonstrate how valuable your authority is in the mix. I'm just going to preach now.
No, preach away. Like it even goes beyond that. And I think you have to be able to like have empathy to understand like the user, what are they experiencing? Because that's the only way you're going to be able to understand what they're actually looking for, looking to do.
Right.
That's a hard task.
So you have now the subject matter that needs to be not only topical but also subtopics and micro intentional concepts, but you also need to be looking at the user experience continually. If they are not getting and they can't consume quickly what you're trying to lead them on and actually trying to help deepen their own knowledge. I mean, think about that. If a site's not actually helping educate you on your next steps, it was almost like a consumer advocate, right?
Yep.
Then they're going to be losing out. People are going to bounce, and hey, you're on to the next site.
Yeah, I mean, how else do you know those micro intents?
Right. How
else do you know them if without fully identifying with the user and experiencing what they're experiencing on some level?
You will not. You will not. So kudos to this article, and we're seeing a number of these start bubbling up to the surface. This is the next evolution of SEO, and there's going to be a swing back right over to user experience guidance as well. So designers, marketers, listen to your SEOs because they're going to be armed with such depth of information of how to guide those consumers, not to the transactional funnel, right? Don't even think about the funnel. If you don't have your clusters together of information, then your consumers are going to be bouncing off. Go to somebody else as quickly as they can, right?
That's pretty much it. Yep. And maybe SEO should start listening to designers or whoever it is also to better understand what's going on in the marketing side. Just a crazy thought.
Yeah, crazy thought there. You might. They have some data. You might want to.
That's true.
Let them out of the box.
Content people.
Let them out of the box every once in a while.
Look, I don't want to disparage SEOs, but what SEOs think content is and what content actually is might not be the same thing.
You stop that right now.
I'm sorry. This is twice in one episode. First, yeah. It's a good day.
Very good. I mean, he was in raw form whenever he got on the show. Now we're just throwing verbal bombs at us. All right. Hey, we usually tap it off with 3 articles, but the 4th one we want to throw out here today, a big congratulations to Carolyn Leiden. She's actually joining the Search Engine Land and SMX group of people over at Third Door Media. Barry gives a great compliment to Carolyn, and it's great information that we've just heard. But Morty, you've got some insights straight. You know Carolyn personally, and she's also managed SEO Chat, right?
She's how I got to SEO Chat. I mean, first off, I love Carolyn Leiden. She's fantastic. Cool. I'm so excited about this because now you have Carolyn, you have George, you have Barry all under one roof.
Yep.
That's amazing. But she's one of the most amazing people in the entire SEO industry. I will say that flat out.
Very cool.
Also an avid Falcons fan, so you have to feel bad for her because the Falcons suck.
Okay, well, we're gonna publicly ask for Carolyn to come on to the show and put Morty in his place. I'm not going to be able to help at all on the football thing, but Carolyn, if you want to go face to face with Morty, let's do it on the show here coming up soon.
Face to face, like I'm in her corner. We'll go after you.
Well, probably.
We're coming for you, Aaron.
Oh, I tell you what, what really sucked is I actually bought a New Orleans Saint cap when I was on vacation on tour, right? And it's just a cool cap. I loved it, but all of a sudden I'm getting hit with all these, hey, go Saints. And I was freak out, start realizing, hey, I got to get my stats together if I'm representing a team. So would you believe I actually started learning the Saints football during that vacation?
Wow. That's a great story.
No, it actually really sucks. All right, sir. Well, kudos to Carolyn, and we'd love to have her on the show and talk search content and great accomplishment for Third Door Media. All right, that's it for this painful episode of The Edge News this week. Watch for our first part of Sam Tomlinson's interview about big tech antitrust issues. We talk through the plights of Google and Facebook. Make sure you jump into SEO Chat. 1 p.m. Eastern on Thursday.
That's right. Thank you.
Absolutely. We certainly want to be part of that, so we're going to jump in and witness the fracas over there as well. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And from all of us over at Edge, be safe, be well, and do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.